You've probably heard the phrase, the armor of God, a million times, right? But what if I told you that this incredible metaphor wasn't just some clever idea thought up in a quiet study? What if it was actually a masterclass in communication, born in one of the most unlikely places you can imagine? Let's get into it.
So where did this thing really come from? Seriously, because it wasn't born in a peaceful moment of inspiration. The real origin story is way more dramatic. It's a story about finding incredible creativity under some pretty extreme pressure.
All right, so our story starts inside a Roman prison. Let's peel back the layers here and see exactly how a moment of total confinement sparked an idea that would echo for thousands of years.
Okay, so picture this. The Apostle Paul is under house arrest in Rome. This is not exactly the kind of place you'd think would inspire world-changing ideas. It's all about limitation, confinement, but that's really just the beginning of our story.
But here's the crucial detail. Look closer at who he was chained to. This wasn't just some random guard. He was literally attached to a member of the Praetorian Guard. We're talking the absolute best of the best, the Roman military's elite. 24/7, his constant companion was a living, breathing symbol of Roman power.
And this, right here, is the genius move. Instead of seeing the guard as just his captor, Paul saw him as a visual aid. He starts studying the guy's equipment, breaking down his armor piece by piece, not as a prisoner, but as a communicator searching for the perfect metaphor.
So how did he do it? This is where it gets really, really cool. Let's break down exactly how Paul translated each piece of Roman steel into a powerful spiritual idea.
First up, he sees the soldier's big, thick leather belt. Now, this wasn't for looks. It held his tools, kept his tunic out of the way, and basically secured his entire core. And the connection? Bam! Just like that belt, truth is what holds your whole life together. Without it, everything else just kind of falls apart. Then his eyes land on the breastplate. You know, that solid wall of metal or leather guarding the soldier's heart and lungs from a killer blow. Paul saw the parallel instantly. Righteousness. It's the thing that protects your heart, your very core, from the damaging hits of guilt and shame. Then he looks down at the soldier's feet. They're wearing these heavy-duty sandals with spikes on the bottom, and for one very important reason: grip. On a messy, slippery battlefield, your footing is everything. And this perfectly illustrates the gospel of peace. It gives you a firm spiritual footing, so you can stand your ground when life gets chaotic. Now, for the main piece of defense, the shield. And this wasn't some little round thing. It was a massive, door-sized shield that could cover a soldier's whole body. Roman soldiers would soak them in water, so when flaming arrows hit, they'd just sizzle out on impact. Paul's insight here was amazing. Faith works the exact same way. It's a barrier that extinguishes those fiery darts of doubt and fear before they can ever get to you. And finally, the helmet. A soldier's head was obviously his most vulnerable spot, which made this piece of armor totally non-negotiable. The connection Paul made? He linked it to salvation. The idea that being secure in where you stand ultimately protects your mind, your thoughts, and your very identity from attack.
So up to this point, every single piece of armor has been for defense. But Paul noticed one item that was completely different. It wasn't about standing your ground, it was about taking ground. Let's dig into the one offensive piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, while everything else was for blocking and deflecting, the Roman gladius, this short, razor-sharp sword, was for getting in close and taking the initiative. Paul called this the sword of the Spirit, and he said it was the Word of God.
But here's where Paul's brilliance goes to another level. In the original Greek language, he didn't use the common word for word, which is logos. Logos means the whole thing, the entire Bible. Think of it as the whole armory. No, he chose a much more precise word, rhema. So, what's rhema? It means a specific, spoken word for a specific moment. It's not the whole armory, it's the single sword stroke. It's that one verse you pull out in a moment of crisis to fight back against a very specific fear or lie. It's a precision weapon for a specific fight.
But all this incredible armor is pretty useless without one last thing: prayer. So what does prayer do? Well, it's the communication system. Roman soldiers relied on signals and trumpet calls to get orders from their commander and stay in formation. Paul saw prayer as that exact same thing, a direct line to the commander that keeps a soldier connected, coordinated, and effective.
So why did this metaphor work so well? I mean, why did it catch on like wildfire? To really get its explosive power in the ancient world, we have to look at the guy who came up with it.
See, we have to remember, Paul wasn't just some random prisoner. He was a Roman citizen. He knew the world his audience lived in, a world constantly overshadowed by Roman legions. So he didn't use metaphors about fishing or farming. He chose the most dominant, unavoidable symbol of power they saw every single day, the Roman soldier.
And this is the knockout punch of his message. He was basically saying, hey, you see these soldiers? You see the power of Rome everywhere you look, and it seems invincible. But the armor God gives you is superior. It's an unseen power that is way greater than anything this empire can throw at you. Can you imagine how empowering that message was for people who felt powerless?
And all of that leaves us with this one final powerful question. This whole enduring metaphor wasn't born from freedom, but from confinement. It really makes you wonder, what if our biggest limitations are actually the secret sauce of our most powerful ideas, just waiting for us to look at them from a new perspective?
Thanks for watching. Visit our website www.christthelivingtruth.com to learn more.